to Community Connection. I'm your host, Sarah Clark, and today with me I have Ernesto Paredes and Nicole Campos, Executive Director and Operations Coordinator of EasyLift Transportation. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you. Thanks for inviting us.
So a lot of people out there they see the EasyLift vans around town and people getting in and out, and I know I see them all over town. But tell me a little bit about what you do and the history of EasyLift so that we can put some context to all these EasyLift vans around Santa Barbara.
Well, thank you for that. And again, it's true. It's very similar. People see our vans. They don't necessarily understand the dynamic of who we are and what we're doing. A lot of people don't know we're a charity. And that's probably one of the biggest challenges we have is realizing that, indeed, we are a 501c3 charity, just like everybody else that's trying to raise support from individuals, organizations, businesses like Cox. So with that, we started back in 1979 as a project of the local Easter Seals. It was understood that there was individuals in our community that didn't have equal access to the community. Mostly those people who were using wheelchairs. At the time, MTD had these big 3 steps they had to walk up into. So obviously individuals couldn't, the people that we're serving couldn't do that. We started with an RV where people actually physically lifted individuals into the RV and took them to where they needed to go. Fast forward to 1990 with the passage of the Americans with Disabilities Act. That was monumental not only for EasyLift Transportation, but also it was such a great an ability for the individuals to really access their community now through programs, services. Obviously you saw the lowering of telephones and water fountains and more ramps, but more importantly, it was about having these individuals as truly part of our community. One of the biggest challenges EasyLift is seeing is individuals that are dealing with isolation, societal isolation, meaning these are people who didn't have, maybe they weren't married or no longer married, they don't have a lot of friends or family, maybe they don't participate in a religious or volunteer opportunities. Those are the ones that need to get out more and more. So with that, EasyLift has done its job as far as trying to raise enough awareness and obviously vehicles to be able to support that.
Wonderful. So Nicole, I'd love to hear about some of the programs that EasyLift offers our community and maybe even some examples of how people in our community utilize EasyLift.
Sure. So our core program is Dial Ride, of course, and we also, Ernesto, is a great advocate for the community. He also noticed that there was different organizations around town that were struggling in the transportation area. They, they have these great programs in place, but they also have to worry about getting their kids there. And so instead of them worrying about all of that, we said, let us take care of the transportation. That is what we do. And so we've connected with several nonprofits, one being the Isla Vista Teen Center, Cleveland School, and also there's a lot more. And this summer we've provided, just last month alone, around 800 rides for children just getting around town to different summer programs, Fun in the Sun, and also there's a new organization in town. They're called Youth Interactive, and it's all very informal. They call us and they ask us for transportation. They'd let me know the dates. If the dates are available, if the vehicle's available, then we're there. And so, yeah, I'm basically coordinating that, and along with my operations manager. And yeah, we're just happy to help, and we're getting such great positive feedback. A lot of nice
Well, what she
letters.
doesn't tell you is she is the keeper of promises, because I make a lot of promises in the community, and she's wonderful. In the office, I'll come back and say, Nicole, guess who we promised we're going to provide transportation to? And she has to figure out how to do it. And that program is called CAT, Children's Accessible Transportation.
Yes.
And again, the concept is geared towards organizations that traditionally don't offer transportation for their clients. So it's been a great partnership.
Wonderful. So that's a great overview on CAT. Tell us a little bit more about Dial a Ride and what that core program is.
Yeah, the Dial a Ride is, again, it's specifically for individuals that can't access the MTD. Either they can't get to the bus stop, or if they were on the bus, they wouldn't know when to get on and off the vehicle. So typically those are the individuals that would qualify. Just because a person uses a wheelchair doesn't mean they would qualify for EasyLift, because we've all seen people who are wheelchair users who are very independent and very capable. These are for a little bit more of the more vulnerable population. So people would call us, that we would just ask them a few questions, just confirm that EasyLift is the best service for them. And we'll take them anywhere they want to go in the South Santa Barbara County. So for $3.50, we'll go anywhere from essentially North Goleta into Carpinteria and all points in between. So as much as it's affordable, $7 round trip, for many individuals it still could be a hardship when they're going 3 or 4 times a week to either dialysis or nutrition programs or just quality of life services. It adds up very fast. And so we would never turn anyone away just because they couldn't, their ability to pay or inability to pay. So it's important for us to have a good ear to the community and see that we need to be flexible with the community as opposed to making the community adjust to our programs.
Wonderful. And I'm sure you have people that ride frequently that you get to know and build relationships with and friendships probably too.
That's a great point. And that's something it's something that, unfortunately, as the executive director, I'm a couple times removed from that. But the drivers really get those stories. And we have our monthly meetings. They'll tell us about, did you know that Mr. Smith was the head of this organization back in New York, and Mrs. Jones danced on Broadway, or all these wonderful stories, because sometimes we think of them as the shell of the person they used to be, because we're taking them to the places where they need to go. But just like you and I, they all had careers. They all were doing something that was significant with their families, individually. It's so rewarding for us to hear the stories of the individuals. And again, I've been with the organization about 20 years, and it's those stories inside the vans that really have kept me at EasyLift.
Well, and the reason that I think EasyLift is we've become such a fabric of our community, and why it's such an exceptional organization because of you two helping to run it, but is that these people are able to contribute back to the community and be part of the community, whereas they would not be able to if there wasn't EasyLift. They'd be at home and isolated and not be able to share these stories and give their experiences and help, and so it's really such a vital part of our community at this point.
It's a privilege for us because you have a lot of great guests on your show here, and there's even more that haven't been represented yet. And we take them to all those organizations, services, programs, volunteer opportunities, City College, UCSB, everything that you and I do. That's where individuals need to go. It's exciting for us to have that responsibility. It's always changing. Obviously, the vehicle, so to speak, are the vans, but we really want to have impact on community planning and try to create more services where people live, so that we don't have to be so dependent on vehicles and transportation. So, in some point, try to take ourselves out of business, but we know that we recognize that really will never happen.
Yeah, I think there'll always be a need for you, even as the organization evolves. So tell me about the other program you have, GAT, and then I'd love to hear more about some of the new programs that are evolving in the organization.
Well, GAT kind of was an offshoot of CAT. GAT stands for Greatest Generation Accessible Transportation. The concept, quite simply, is people were calling us. They weren't eligible for the dial-a-ride yet. They were still relatively healthy and need our dial-a-ride services, but they still need to get places. Maybe they weren't comfortable driving in the evening, or they didn't want to, for where they were going, MTD wasn't the best option. So our idea was, let's try to move large groups of people, seniors most specifically, to where they want to go, whether it be cultural events, nutrition programs, senior programs, senior expos. Anything that they want to do, that's where we'll take them. So we work with other organizations. They'll call us, and again, I make the promises and hand it over to Nicole. And she and Renee, our operations manager, also just kind of, they put all the pieces together. And we've been compared to a newspaper where it's almost a miracle that happens every day, but we figure out a way.
It's a lot of planning. I can only imagine how, you have to have somebody really good and detail-oriented, coordinating all these moving parts.
Our operations manager has been with us for over 20 years. And we, about a day during the week, we do about 275 rides a day.
Wow.
We're trying to always make that number go up, but yeah, we have all those rides and we have to find a way to fit them in. So
Great. So tell me about your goals for the future, looking forward.
You know, and that's we've been lucky enough. We've been getting such wonderful support from the community that we're allowed to dream, to think big, and not just think about next month or are we going to be able to meet our budget. We've been fortunate and continue to work very diligently with the community, so that we need a new home. That's one of the probably biggest things as we're outgrowing where our facility. We are currently at the airport property, which has been great partner for us. But as our success continues to grow, more people are coming to us to ask to work with them, which means we need more vehicles, which means we need more drivers, and on and on and on. And obviously here in the South Coast, good space is a premium. And so that's something that our board is looking to possibly developing a capital campaign so that we can approach that need. But also there's things that we want to be able to, again, there's three main things we want to do. Sustainability, really strengthen our organization, because if we have a great product but if we're not around next year, we're worthless. So trying to have a good business model. Secondly is quality of service, having a high quality for our passengers. And then quantity service, serve as many people as we can responsibly so that we can always fit the needs of this community.
So how can our viewers today get involved? How can our community help support you?
It's a great question, and there's a couple ways. So we will be beginning a volunteer driving corps. So if they want to drive 2 to 4 hours a week, they can come join us and provide transportation for their neighbors in a sedan, so it wouldn't be dealing with one of the large vans. Also, the businesses can adopt the back of our vehicles, adopt a van, and that's a great way to help underwrite the cost of the operations of that specific vehicle.
Great. Well, thank you so much for coming in and telling us more about EasyLift Transportation. It was a pleasure to have you both on the show today.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching Community Connection. We'll see you next time.